In this video I would like to talk to you about one completely overpowered piece of equipment, or a weapon more specifically, called School Vase. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Gyro. I'm very happy for you to see you join me here today. Today we are talking about a particular weapon called School Vase. But it's such a horrible pronunciation that I will stick to School Vase because I like it. You get School Vase as a drop for any class, any spec that can handle a two-handed weapon from Maut or Mort, or however you pronounce it. It's the second boss of the first wing of LFR, or any other way that you're doing the Ny'alotha raid of 8.3 in patch 8.3. It's the N'Zoth raid, yes? So, School Vase is an axe. It has a fairly steep level of corruption, especially if you are an undergeared character, and we will get to that in 1 second. So, it's plus 50 corruption. It will seriously corrupt you, and you will need to basically either have only School Vase on you and a little bit leveled up cloak with some resistance to corruption before you can use it and kind of enjoy the benefits of it without feeling too impaired, so to speak. Now, beauty of School Vase is the fact that it has this unique effect. You cannot get this unique corruption effect from any other item. You know how there is a whole bunch of corruption effects, and you can get them randomly on different pieces of gear that you're getting in Echoes of Ny'alotha patch 8.3. But School Vase is a very, very special kind of thing. So what it offers you, it gives you the effect of Obsidian Skin, which increases your armor, total armor, by 5%. And then, while you are in combat, you will be exploding with Obsidian Destruction effect. Boom! Exploding with Obsidian Destruction effect every 30 seconds. And you will do shadow damage equal to 700% of your armor value to all enemies within 20 yards. Think about it. All the math I will put to you here, which is based on the current armor value that this particular character has, and I will talk about this in a second a little bit more. So this is not my Death Knight that you got used to seeing pushing horrific visions on masks. This is not that guy. This is another guy who I had for millions of years, since the good old days when I used to raid in Wrath of the Lich King expansion ages ago. Tormi is my old Death Knight, hence his title, Champion of the Frozen Wastes. It's not something that I got just, afterwards because I was bored. I actually earned this title while I was actively playing Wrath of the Lich King, so he's age old. But he was lagging behind in terms of being leveled up, in terms of being geared up, so now is his time. While I was doing it, well, partially for power checks, like I do these videos for you guys, I don't always just play my highest level, highest ranked up characters, as you know, but I often like to take a look at a fresh alt. For example, I do a fresh power check of Unholy spec on yet another Death Knight that I have. Yeah, I have a bunch of characters we haven't yet figured out, but I hope you saw my classes and specs guide that was published recently. If you haven't, please honor me with your attention and take a look at the guide. Maybe you will find something interesting for yourselves. Point is, I have lots of characters and I explore specs very, very differently. I do not usually like to reuse the same character unless it is the top end check, because I have on only a few characters I have Cloak at rank 15 and all Mother's Archives. But if I do a clean power check, I try to use it on a new character. Initially I thought that Tormi is going to be Frost. I thought that he's going to be my clean check of Frost, and he will be dedicated Frost. Everything is going to be Frost about him, not Unholy. But then what happened was I got School Vase completely randomly. I got the piece of gear from Maut, as I just described. And the numbers, all the numbers that I show to you over here, are suggesting substantial amount of damage that I will be basically passively inflicting on the enemies if I keep grouping them up and basically having as many targets around me as possible. So in this little power check video, I have done a run with Shkulvaz already, so I have reasons to believe that it's quite impressive. So we're gonna do a real-time run, and as you can see, Tormy is not geared enough to do anything substantial. I don't think I'll even push for 3 chests, but I think we can do 2 chests run. I only have rank 4 cloak. It's only 25% sanity loss reduction. That is on a very low end, you have to agree with me here, yeah? As far as Mother's Archive's talents are concerned, you will just have to take my word for it, because I'm already inside, talking at image of Rathian. I only have cranial defibrillation and the first boost to the damage, the first bunch of talents there. I don't have elite extermination, I don't have any other extensive talents. Just the basic top row of the talents. And my gear is blue. Blues, 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 blues everywhere. Blues, 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 blues. And Shkulvaz. I will be running with my DPS meter open, like this. And we will be looking at how much Shkulvaz actually does. You see some rough indication already from my previous run, where Obsidian Destruction is the effect that we'll be looking for. And it's not for the whole run, by the way. It was just one of the last fights, where it only went off twice. So take a look at the count always, if you're interested. So count was only twice, so it means that it was 30 seconds and 30 seconds, boom, boom. And it did a lot of damage. You can see exactly how much damage it did, which equated to 10% of that particular fight. Now, we're going to recount, because this is just me giving you an example. It's a primer, as they say. And we're going to go in real time in Stormwind, Vision of Stormwind, and we're going to... I apologize for that sound, that's my chair. Old chair, need a new one. And we're going to see just how well Shkulvaz does, yeah, this time around. And I can tell you, it's going to be pretty damn impressive. We are entering the Cathedral District of Stormwind. We're going to aggro all of these guys. We're going to not engage. We're going to go around the corner here, because it will pull everyone. And we're going to infect them with Outbreak. We're going to infect them with Virulent Plague. And even though we are not seeing very well all the carnage that's happening on the screen right now, I am opening recount the damage counter. Take a look. We have so Obsidian Destruction went off 4 times during this period of time, and it did 14% of damage, of the total damage. Bursting Swords obviously is my main AoE for Unholy spec. You already can see where this is going, don't you? As you can see, the recount is set up in such a way that it always reports on the latest fight. It doesn't tell you total, it just tells you this particular fight. So it just reset. So right now we are observing how Shkulvaz performs against these 2 targets. And as the description already said to us, I already mentioned it, but I'll repeat myself once again. Obviously, the effect is built in such a way that the more targets, the merrier. The more targets, the merrier. When you have only 1 or 2 targets, so far, and this is about 3rd or 4th run actually with Shkulvaz for myself, and the first one for you, obviously, that I'm reporting on. If you have only 1 or 2 targets, you will get about 10% of your total damage from the effect of Obsidian Destruction, which I think is, by any stretch of imagination, is considered to be respectable. I would consider it respectable. Now, the more targets, the more ridiculous this Obsidian Destruction is gonna be. I don't know, these are pretty soft, all of them are pretty soft. I killed them before before we could see anything happening. But, as you know, we are heading towards Dwarven District. There will be enough targets for us to worry about. You will see. Once we get a lot of them together, you will see just how much damage it does. I personally, take a look, so Obsidian Destruction went off at a good time, did it 3 times, and it's 26%. It's my highest damage dealing ability, which I think is amazing. Now, before you ask, my plan is, so I only had Shkulvaz on this character, on this kind of up and coming character, which is why hence all the introduction. Now take a look at the damage, take a look at what happens. Pay attention to the recount. But my goal, guys, is, now that I have even discovered for myself just how good this piece of loot is, this weapon is, I want to get Shkulvaz for my properly developed Death Knight. Yeah, the one who you are a bit more familiar with. And I want to see just how much push would be available, would be possible with the help of Shkulvaz in the hands of someone who actually has Cloak rank 15, who has item level 450 plus. Because this guy is barely scratching the surface, but that's all we wanted, right? We just wanted to see what's gonna happen. How is it gonna work? How good is the Obsidian Destruction on him? And I think that Obsidian Destruction is just fantastic. Again, for some reason here it wasn't very prominent, probably because Scourge Strike overtook quite a lot, and maybe it just didn't go off frequently enough. But it's supposed to be going off every 30 seconds, so I don't know. We have another big pool coming up right now, guys. And my sanity, I'm keeping an eye on my sanity. My sanity is dripping like water. My sanity with this sanity loss reduction is just like, is really not good. Just like with Twilight Devastation, just like with everything else, Obsidian Destruction obviously is not an effect that you can predict or time particularly well. The best thing you can do, and the best thing I would try and do, is to stay as close as possible to as many targets as possible. But then it gets like this. It gets a little hectic because I am in 430, I am in blues, I definitely take a lot of damage. But you can see that as long as you plan your movements and as long as you try and group enemies in a way that I did, you can see that Obsidian Destruction in this case contributed to 12% of the total damage done on that pool, which once again, by anyone's standards, I think is very, very respectable. And yes, I'm gonna right now summon the second orb, obviously, because my sanity is dripping. And at that stage, as far as design of the game goes, the design of the patch goes, I don't think Blizzard even expected us to clear 2 areas with the Cloak rank 4 and sanity loss of only 25%. I don't think they did. But regardless, we had already videos where we did power check on the Death Knight, and I think I've already proven everything that I needed to prove to say that it's an absolutely overpowered, super fun, wonderful class, and in pretty much any spec that Death Knights have. And with Shkulvaz in my hands, I think I can be an absolute beast, which is fantastic. So even in this case, one target, nothing to write home about. You can see Obsidian Destruction was between 8 and 10%. I think it just dropped to 8, but it was 10%. So it's respectable. It's very respectable. And again, like I'm saying to you, where you have a large group of enemies, where you have a lot of them on you, I think that you will see even higher benefits to Obsidian Destruction than I am able to demonstrate here. But all in all, I'm very impressed. I think it's a lot of fun. I'm not even saying that Shkulvaz simply looks great, but I think it actually also even looks great as a weapon. But I hope that you did enjoy this little showcase, and I hope that you will be able to tell me in the comments down below if you have a Shkulvaz, want one, tested it yourself, maybe you had even better results to boast and to tell me about, because I definitely like to hear your opinion about just how good Shkulvaz is in your hands. If you are using it as a warrior, paladin, or Death Knight. I can't think of anyone else who could use a two-hander right now, at the very least, in trying to talk to you in real time about this. Will there be come on, Alleria. Alleria deserves a hit of that as well. Come on, where is she? Where is it? Where is Obsidian Destruction? Come on. I'm waiting for it to pop. It's once every 30 seconds, and sometimes 30 seconds is actually a long time. It's an eternity. You just wait for something to happen and it doesn't. I know I don't need to make excuses here, but Alleria, as you know, as you may know, as you should know, Alleria is highly melee unfriendly as a boss, and this test would have been almost rigged, would have felt almost rigged if I waited 1 or 2 days until the weeks change onto Orgrimmar and tested it in Orgrimmar. Well, I'll be doing it in Orgrimmar, absolutely, except it won't be really a test then. Alright, Obsidian Destruction did go off only 3 times, somehow, really kind of not super impressive in this particular fight, but it still gave us solid 7% of damage. It's alright. But I think with larger groups, and imagine for someone like Blood Death Knight, imagine for someone who lives and dies by getting heaps of mobs, large groups of mobs to fight at the same time, because that's just generally how Death Knights operate, how Blood Death Knights operate. And they are two-hander, they are wielding two-handers, right? So, anyway, I am very impressed with Skullvaz. Love the name, love the look, love the effect. Think it can be pushed even higher, even further on better prepared, more kind of built for that characters, like my primary Death Knight, but he doesn't have Skullvaz just yet. Hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, please like the video, please subscribe if you haven't already. We are talking about World of Warcraft, Horrific Visions, and very soon Shadowlands, Torghast, and beyond every 2 days. So this little club is growing, it's fantastic, very inspiring for me. Hopefully you found yourself a little club as well, and I will talk to you very soon, next time.